Hello, everyone. I'm new to this, so hopefully this is working. If you are here and can put something in the chat to let me know this is working, that would be great. Go. I see things happening. Hopefully this is working. Um, I will give everyone another minute here. I was supposed to start at 12:15, and then I realized that my invitation on the invite said 12, so some of you may be here early. So I figured I would start a bit early to make sure everything is set up. Luckily, I gave myself a few extra minutes and realized that in order to go live on LinkedIn, you actually need an account with a broadcast service. So for anyone who's thinking of going online with LinkedIn, um, keep that in mind. I will give a little intro to myself right now. I'm Sandra Eamor for those of you who don't know me. Let's see. If you are here and you are able to see me, if you can leave me a note in the LinkedIn comments, that would be great, just so I can kind of be sure this is working. Otherwise, I will get to some of the questions that were in the chat shortly. Hi, David. Thank you for the message. Want to make sure things are going smoothly here. So as I mentioned, I'm new to LinkedIn Live. We're going to give this a shot and see how it goes. And I'm also new to StreamYard, so I'm learning as I go. And if anyone is following my newsletters that I sent out, my newsletter came out last week, a couple days ago, and it was all about uh, not being scared of systems and learning how to play with the settings in your system. So that's actually what I'm in the middle of doing here with StreamYard so that I can figure out how this is working. So thank you, David. I'm glad this is going smooth. Um, I'm excited to be here. So I guess I'm going to get started with some questions. If anybody does want to join me or have something to say or share, I can, it seems like I can actually invite you. So let me know if you want to come live with me and ask a question or have a discussion. But I'm going to start with some of the questions that people have been posting earlier. Thank you, Level. Great to see you here too. All right, so I'm going to start with Simone's question, who she posted a question when I first posted this event about MS Teams versus Slack. I love MS Teams, and I find that MS Teams is a lot more versatile for sharing information as a team and collaborating as a team as opposed to just using Slack. Slack is a great tool for having quick conversations about things and having different channels for things, but that's kind of as far as you can go with Slack without maybe having a lot of other add-ins. Teams is really great to create a team space. So Teams also has that chat feature and where you can have channels for different topics, but you can also create teams that also really integrate well with SharePoint and other Microsoft tools so that you can have everything in one place. So I don't have a team set up on this computer right now, so I can't show you, but if you are in Teams, you can set up different channels, and along the top bar of each of those channels, you can add multiple tabs. So I've used those tabs to import websites, different Microsoft features that we use. So we use a Microsoft Planner board to keep track of all of our tasks. I have Confluence pages there to keep track of different projects that we're working on or key status reports. So it's really great for project work and teamwork. Um, I I personally prefer Teams to Slack. But then again, it really depends on what you're using it for and what you want to collaborate on. So it may be different from team to team as to kind of the functionality that you need and how deep you want to go into online collaboration as well. All right, so far looks like we're going okay. I'm going to keep going with some of the questions that I saw pop in here earlier. So I see Preeti left a question here. And what would you say is the best collaboration tool for a fully remote organization? Oh, Karen, you're still waiting for the broadcast. Can everybody else see me? Um, I'm not sure, Karen. Uh, hopefully, you may need to. I guess she can't hear me if she can't see the broadcast. So let me just respond. If somebody else wants to give me a thumbs up or um, a message to say that I'm still alive and that you're still catching me, make sure we're okay. All right, I'll keep going with uh, Preeti's question about the best collaboration tool for a fully remote organization. I can't say that there is any one best collaboration tool overall. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what your organization is all about. And it's going to depend on if, thank you, David, for posting that link. If it's going to depend on the size of your organization, the size of your teams, what you're trying to communicate. Um, the type of work that you do. So, a law firm is going to have a lot of different needs and types of things that they collaborate versus maybe a real estate agent or a brokerage firm. So, depending on the types of collaboration you may need to do and the types of work you're doing, that'll really dictate what kind of system or collaboration tools you are wanting to use. Great. I'm glad you're here, Karen. And thanks, Raphael. Hi. So again, there isn't going to be one overall best collaboration tool for a fully remote organization. It comes down to building the right collaboration tools so that you can collaborate together and work efficiently together. And I see there's a few more people coming on and things are live. So as I mentioned before, if you do want to come live and have a conversation with me about anything or ask a question live, I can send you an invite link and you should be able to join me. Again, for those of you who are just joining, I'm new to this, so I'm trying to figure out how to use StreamYard and get this all going. Okay, so where are we here? So fully remote. Okay, so the next question I have is from Bethany. Hi, Bethany. The best system to become a subject matter expert, Microsoft Office or Google Suite? Now, it depends what you want to become a subject matter expert in. They both offer very different ways of collaborating and working as organizations. If you're asking, you're an executive assistant, so I'm assuming maybe you're thinking about, you know, where you want to go with, like, in different organizations, maybe, and maybe you can clarify that question if you're here, and give me a bit more context as to what you mean by that. In general, if you're looking to learn something new and learn kind of a new overall platform like Microsoft Office or Google Suite, and you're trying to decide which one you want to learn, um, it's really going to depend where you want to go. Microsoft Office tends to be used mostly by larger corporations, and there's still a lot of larger organizations that are using that for a variety of uh, purposes. Okay, so becoming a resource for your team. So does your organization use both Microsoft Office and Google Suite, Bethany, or because that'll kind of depend which one you want to go for. And to kind of compare and contrast for everybody else, um, Microsoft Office has a lot of tools and applications that are um, a lot. You can go a lot more in depth with them, which also means there could be a bigger learning curve unless you're using just the basics. That said, Microsoft Office uses, okay, you use both. So I guess you're trying to decide which one you kind of want to focus on for a variety of reasons. Um, So Microsoft Office has a lot more tools with it and apps with it that can help at an organizational level. So, depending on the subscription plan you're on, Microsoft Office will have project planning help through MS Planner, which is really great for getting started with working through projects and tasks in a kind of Kanban style. Microsoft Office has a built-in booking tool, so if you want somebody to be able to book time with you, you can use um, it's all part of your subscription. You don't get necessarily all the bells and whistles as if you were to go with other applications like Calendly or other things like that. But all of these tools are available through Microsoft. Microsoft also has a built-in automation tool for MS Automate, which allows you to kind of connect some of your apps together and create automations. It's a little bit more technical, but it's built in usually with most Microsoft packages. Whereas Google, if you want to connect and do some automation, you're going to be using a third-party tool like Zapier to connect. That said, those are probably a little bit more user-friendly for the average user than something you're trying to automate with Microsoft. Um, and from a kind of document storage perspective, Microsoft Office has SharePoint and OneDrive, which are kind of the equivalent of Google Drive and My Drive on the Google side. Um, both do similar things. SharePoint has a little bit more, mm, I guess, security around it from a more corporate kind of perspective, although it depends what you're kind of trying to accomplish. You can typically accomplish most business related tasks on both sides. Um, I think it comes down to what you're trying to achieve and what you want to um, how you want to interact with each other and kind of the skill level of your teams. So if you're already using Microsoft and you're comfortable with it and it's working for you and you just kind of want to expand and dig a bit deeper, then I'd say it, lean towards becoming an expert in Microsoft. Whereas if you have a user group that maybe isn't as tech savvy um, and maybe want something a little bit more intuitive, Google Workspace is usually a bit easier to learn, especially if since a lot of people are already using Gmail as free email accounts, it has a lot of the same look and feel. So hopefully that answered your question there, Bethany. And I'm any other questions? Fresh. I think I covered the questions that were in here. Does anyone else have any questions or anyone want to come live and join me and talk about something systems related? I'm happy to chat. I'm glad that it helped Bethany. And I guess while I'm waiting to see if anyone else has any other questions or things we want to chat about, as far as Google Workspace goes, I am starting a Google Workspace training course in May. And if you, I'll share the link with you in a second. Um, it's a 6 week course plus a 7 week bonus, or plus a 1 week bonus to make it 7 weeks, and I'll be covering all of the Google modules, and it'll be a small group class. And I believe I have that set for Monday or Tuesday nights. But I will share the link here and you can get more information about it. Uh, there you go. So anyone who is interested in learning a bit more about Google, I am offering that course. I also do one-on-one training for a lot of different systems, Google kind of being the one I've been focusing on a bit lately. And I also do Microsoft training, although I don't really uh, publish it as much. But I am very, very familiar with Microsoft as well. Karen, so what is better, Outlook or Gmail for small businesses? So, Outlook, what you're really asking is almost the same question is Microsoft versus Google Workspace. So, when you're getting an email account for your small business, you will likely sign up for one or the other. So again, it's going to come down to what you're trying to accomplish with your business. And for most small businesses or solopreneurs or professionals that are looking to have their own kind of branded uh, email and kind of operate. Uh, Usually Google is easier to use. That said, you probably have, and because I know you a bit, Karen, you probably have a lot more experience with Microsoft. So you might feel more comfortable with Outlook because you've already been using it. Um, and you know, the benefit of Microsoft is it does come with all these other little apps that are already kind of ready to go. So if you're looking for somebody to book time with you and you want to share a calendar, that's there. If you want to track work um, your with MS Planner, you have all that built in, whereas Google doesn't have those little extra apps easily available. Um, that said, if you already use Gmail for your personal, and you find that easy to use and you like it better than Outlook, then it's easier to go with Google. Most small businesses go with Google because it's easy to learn. It's easy to grow with it as well. Really comes down to a personal preference. Not sure if how much that helped answer your question, Karen, but the other benefit with Gmail is that the Google Workspace is that it integrates well with other apps that you might want to use that aren't that maybe are a bit more specific to some businesses. I just find it's a bit more seamless. As far as the email functionality specifically, uh, like Outlook versus Gmail, um, I'm torn. I like them both. Uh, I've actually moved to Zoho now, which we'll save for another conversation, and another time I'll go live and give you a demo on Zoho. Um, Outlook is pretty robust, and there's quite a bit you can do with it. I find Gmail to be a little bit more user friendly, and I like how it integrates with my calendar a bit better, and there's a lot of different things you may want to look at, and we can always have a chat as well about that. Um, and if anyone does want more information or has some other questions and you don't want to pop on here, you can always book a short 15-minute call with me on my website as well. I'm going to move on to the next question here from Preeti. And Karen, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to put them in here. Does Google have certification like Microsoft? They do, and it's done through Coursera. And I did the Google at the time I did it, it was called G Suite. So they've now changed to Google Workspace, but there is a certification on Coursera for Google Workspace admin. Uh, um, I think it's called Google Workspace Admin. If you look at my LinkedIn profile, you should find it in there and be able to connect to it. The other thing that Google has that a lot of people aren't aware of is, and it's also through Coursera, is a Google Project Management certification, which, it's not necessarily to the same rigor of maybe a PMI uh, uh, certification, but it does cover all the basics of project management, and there's a lot of great hands-on tools. I do a lot of project management training and consulting as well, so I thought I'd bring that up since you were asking about certifications. Yes, you're welcome. And Karen, okay, so yes, Karen. So using a calendar between um, Microsoft and Outlook and Gmail um, can be challenging. And we can chat more if you like about what you're trying to achieve there. And I'm assuming it's something along the lines of you're representing a client, so you're using their email on their domain. So some of your clients are probably Microsoft clients, and you have an email that's at their domain, and other clients are Google customers, and you have an email at their domain, which is on the Google. So um, making sure your calendar is the same in both. Um, it can be challenging, and it'll depend on each of those organizations and the permissions they have to allow you to view external calendars and share your calendar out. So there are ways to uh, use sharing links from your calendars and put them into your other calendar. So, uh, for example, I can get the share link from my Google, any of my Google calendars, and add it to my Microsoft Outlook calendar so that I can view everything on one screen, but it doesn't necessarily block out my availability. So if you're doing that in Outlook, where you're pulling in a Gmail, um, sorry, a Google Calendar, you can view them side by side and um, on one kind of screen. It's hard to explain without showing you. I don't have Outlook on this computer. Um, you can show them all on one screen, and you can then kind of go week by week and block out that time that's next to each other. It's a little hard to describe without seeing it, but you can see the different blocks of the calendar time. And that kind of helps to at least be able to view when you're in one application. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, we can chat and I can show you. Another tip on calendars, since we're here, is if you use multiple Google calendars, there is an app or um, solution out there called Reclaim. I think the website's reclaim.ai, if I'm not mistaken, and it will help you connect multiple Google calendars into one Google calendar. So it'll essentially duplicate Google events from one calendar and put them into another one. So um, that's handy for blocking out time. So some apps, like the free version of Calendly, for example, will only allow you to connect one calendar to block your availability. Now, if you upgrade, you can add multiple calendars, so it's not an issue. But when I was trying to do everything free, because free is good, I would use Reclaim to pull all of my Google calendars into one Google Calendar so that Calendly only had to check the availability off of that one calendar. It does get a little bit confusing, but it helped. What I was disappointed to see is that you can only do that with Google Calendar. So I've yet to find an app that can kind of take my Outlook calendar and my Google Calendar and combine them into one availability. Um, but now I just have to manually do it, so that's okay. Excellent. So, any other questions? I still have 15 minutes before I have to go grab some lunch and get back to all of my work. But any other questions there? Yes, Preeti. The Reclaim app is free, but there is an upgrade version as well. Um, so the free version allows you to connect all your calendars and do things. And I think the paid version, if I recall, gives you additional functionality where it basically um, tries to guess where to put time for you. So you can train it to put focus time or break time or exercise time into your calendar, and it'll keep those things as flexible and try to fit them in where needed, as opposed to you having to always manually schedule it. So if you have, your meetings that get booked, but you want to make sure that you spend 15 minutes a day meditating or exercising, or you want to schedule breaks, but they can be flexible. This Reclaim app will actually try to find the best time to put those things in, so that it blocks it off when needed or not. So it's kind of neat to play around with, and the more you want to schedule all of your time, the better a tool it is because it really looks at everything that's going on and tries to plan it in there for you. Kind of like having an assistant without having to pay them too much, I guess. Excellent. So I'm going to pause here and see if there's any other questions. All right, Karen. What is the easiest technology to track business leads, projects, and costs? Okay. Business. So you're basically looking for mostly for a CRM, but not all CRMs track projects well, or costs. So, and if we're talking easiest, you're probably looking for something that's user friendly, um, and doesn't require a lot of tech to get around. So, there's different options out there. Um, as far as projects go, I'm trying to think of something that can kind of cover everything, including costs. Um, because there's a lot of great project tools out there that are simple and easy to use, and it can easily be used to track leads coming in and your project throughout the way. Um, it depends how you want to track costs. You probably want to be able to report on them, I would think. Um, so I'm thinking something like Trello or Asana can help you definitely manage the business leads and projects and stuff coming in. Um, For costs, I'd have to look at them a little bit closer, um, but you could also use something like Airtable, which is basically a whole bunch of uh, think of it as a giant database of tables, but you can fully customize it to however you want to use it. So you, it's a lot more fluid, and customizable to use to set up exactly for what you need. And then it's actually also kind of nice because it eliminates kind of all that other features and functionality that sometimes can be overwhelming in some of the apps. So if you like using Excel to track things, but you need a little bit more than just Excel, Airtable can help you create Excel-like tables, but give you additional functionality within each of the fields so that they can more easily tie to other tables and link information together to kind of create your own sort of mini app. Um, so what I use personally, I'm using Zoho, which isn't always the most tech friendly one. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but it does have the ability to, it's a very robust CRM and it has a lot of ability to configure and change things around. And it does track leads and deals, and there's a lot of options for kind of the dollar value on deals and whether something was won or lost. Um, but there's a lot. Like it's not, I wouldn't say it's a simple, straightforward tool to learn. You'd have to scale it back to what you need. So you can hide a lot of those customized fields, um, and create your own customized views of things of just exactly what you need. But it does take a little bit of setup to get there. But it does have a lot of that functionality as well. Um, Zoho One in general has just about every app you can think of under one subscription. Um, it's like literally everything other than a designer tool to create graphic designs. I think I don't think it's missing anything other than that. You can even create your own website through there as well. It's a great tool, or great platform to use. Um, so if you wanted to give me a bit more details about exactly what kind of costs you're trying to track, or if I answered your question. you know? And again, the invitation's open if anyone wants to jump on and uh, say hi live or be a question. I just need to give you a link. Just let me know. Any other questions? I'm still here. Excellent. Good. I'm glad you were able to join, Karen. Any other questions? I know we had David on earlier and Lovell. Did you guys have any questions I could help with? Raphael, any questions? I know you probably know more than I do, Raphael. If you have any suggestions on tools or uh, tips or tricks, feel free to share. All right. It looks like the ah, do I advise on website design? I used to create some websites years ago. I had built my websites up until my recent one. I don't really do it anymore. Like a lot of things, I can do them, but it's not my strong suit. I do have a great website designer that I just worked with that redid my website. So if you take a look at my site, she redid that for me. And she is Sherry from CNCO. I wonder if I can even tag her in here. Uh, Sherry. Oh, here it is. I'll tag them in here for you. Um, it was here. I just lost it. And they were amazing to work with. Um, they helped create my new logo and the whole design, and they were great to work with. So if you're looking for any website design, I highly recommend them. Um, Great to work with. They helped me come up with my color palettes and my fonts and uh, a lot of my branding. It was they were great help. And I also work with someone else, Tanya, I'm not sure if she's on here, to help me with all of my positioning and messaging because I'm not exactly the best marketing person. So she kind of helped me uh, create my messaging and positioning so that I can be a little bit clearer about what I'm doing. So hopefully that helps. Excellent. Well, I'm still here for a few minutes. I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have. I guess while I'm waiting for another question, another thing that I'm offering now to smaller businesses and organizations. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for all the questions. Um, I've started doing digital workplace assessments for smaller organizations and nonprofits. And basically, in a nutshell, I basically look at all these questions that people have asked, right? How does this app work for um, is it the best app and should I be using Google? Basically, what I do with these digital workplace assessments is I take a look at everything an organization is doing or small business is doing or a nonprofit, and I ask a bunch of questions and I figure out, what is it you're trying to achieve? What type of work do you do? How do people interact with each other? How are you working remotely? Because it is all about kind of remote work now, and it's not just about getting the work done. It's about how we collaborate and connect as an organization or team now as well. These digital workplace assessments, I kind of take a look at everything you're doing right now and what your goals are for the future. So, are you trying to implement something new? Are you trying to um, reach whatever other goals? Are you trying to work on projects more efficiently? Are you trying to sell more efficiently? And I try to create um, kind of a digital landscape of products and solutions and training that can help you achieve those goals. So I provide kind of consulting guidance on what the recommended applications might be or what other solutions or even just better using existing tools that you may have. So some clients that I've worked with, they haven't necessarily needed to get anything new. They just needed to better understand how to work with the systems and tools that they already had. And it might be something like Google Workspace, or it might be Microsoft, or whatever CRM you're using. And I've worked with some real estate agents that have, you know, they already have the systems in place, and they might need one more tool to help with project management or whatnot. But I kind of help bring it all together and help them better collaborate and look at the people side of things as well. So sometimes it's just a matter of training and setting expectations for your team so that you know when and where to collaborate on these different virtual digital tools that are out there. And That's kind of what I've been, one of the things I've been working on with these digital workplace assessments, in addition to the one on one training that I do as well. So I'm not seeing any more questions come in. I will probably wrap that up here then. If you do, have any other questions, join me. I'm going to be doing this probably every 2 weeks. I will try to jump on here and answer whatever questions I can. Uh, you know, if anybody has anything system related they want to chat about, I'm happy to have some guests on. I know a lot about a lot of systems, but I don't know every single system out there, and I always love to learn more about what's out there. So if there is something you're using that you want to learn more about, we can get on here, chat about it. We can even try to go and explore it together and screen share. Um, I'm open to ideas and suggestions as to how you'd like to use this half hour when I'm here. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully, we will see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, David. I'd love to. Actually, I'm going to pop it in here. If anybody does want to chat about systems or about anything I can help with, you can book some time with me on my calendar. And there you go. It's in the chat. You should be able to find some time, book a discovery call or networking call with me. I'm always interested in connecting and reconnecting with people. Thanks, David, for being here. And thank you, everybody else. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.